Hey, there we go. All right, so I don't think anyone's watching yet, but we're going to go ahead and send this link out. Category gaming. You guys think gaming? Yeah, who cares? Doom-ba-doom-ba-doom. And yeah, who cares? Doom-ba-doom-ba-doom. Let's head down to here. Let's go to Patreon. You guys can't see any of this yet, but you're about to. As you can tell, none of my co-hosts have shown up. Let's go to Patreon. You guys can't see any of this yet, but you're about to. As you can tell, none of my co-hosts have. We're going to Patreon right now. Gonna make the post. And I have video and I have a live stream. I guess I'm gonna post. I think we get like YouTube live stream. Two ways. We're gonna use YouTube Live. There's the URL. It's got us. World Walkers. Fun talks in the forest because I'm super clever. Hey, and we got Brian here. Brian, just so you know, we're live. Come join us as we talk all things fun times with Megan and Olivia.
Oh.
Let's do this. We're live. You can't hear me yet. We're live.
Oh.
I can't hear
Hello?
you yet. There you go.
There we go.
Well, you're super laggy.
I am?
You are.
Bummer. What's up, dog?
The mystique has been ruined. Everyone's going to see the green screen.
It'll be okay. It's just for patrons. They get behind the scene access.
That's what we're calling it.
Seriously, though, dog, get out of the way.
Yep.
Apparently, I cropped my frame a lot.
Yeah. I have not sent it out yet, so someone who's watching the archive will be able to see all this.
Oh,
but
good.
I have not sent the link out yet, so let me know when you're ready for the link.
Well, hello, archive.
Can you? Are we lagging?
I don't feel like
Nope.
we're lagging.
No. Okay, good. I get super paranoid. So yeah, let me know when you're good to go, and I'll hit the schedule.
What's the schedule do?
Where we at? Touche. It'll send it out at 8:00. So.
Oh, cool. Go for it.
8:00. And then
how are we getting our guests?
They're gonna join us through here.
Cool.
And you get to see that fun stuff. Coming around. So, yeah, I'm just gonna contact them real quick. I told that. So my plan was having them come in essentially at 8:30. So give us a little bit of time to talk and set the scene.
Where have we been?
So
scene selection, virtual cam. What's happening? Why is that like that? Why are you dogging my life here? Huh? Webcam. Oh, right. Stop video. You're back.
It's just us. Well, if you're hanging out and you're watching this in post, welcome to Black Screen. And Pedro. It's been fun. Super exciting. You know what I will show you. If anyone's really watching this, I'll show you Sirenscape, the people that we get our sound effects from. They a long time ago they sent me this bag, and it's like an exclusive dice bag for people that use Sirenscape. So if you're watching this early, you got to see that, which dun dun dun.
pretty cool.
Pretty excited.
Okay,
So-
start video. All right, so
Oh,
there's
there you go.
that. Boy,
There's
we're
the
just really
conspiracy board.
we're just really disassociating this with like every bit of
It's pro level.
yeah. I want to start my webcam. Hey, look at that. There we go. Sort of. What is happening?
What? You're there.
Why is this? Why are we wrecking my life here?
What's wrong? It looks fine on my end.
Really?
I
Does
mean,
it?
I think so. I feel like I'm being set up.
You are. Oh, I see. My dog has made her. All right. Well,
We'll do it live.
This is gonna go for it.
There's some static on your end now, I think.
What kind of static?
I don't know, staticky?
Audio static.
Yeah. Sorry, audio static. But it's fine
a
now.
lot more than usual.
It's fine now. It's just like for half a second, I was like,
It's fine.
So, I'm ready. Yeah, I have never set up through YouTube. So
We're on YouTube.
yeah, we're doing we're not. This is all Patreon.
Oh man, how do I see it? I have to wait
Oh,
until
well,
Patreon
sorry.
launches.
Yeah, I can give you a link now.
Oh boy. I wish I could figure this out.
What'd you say?
Listen,
I thought you said, I wish I could feel something. Like all of a sudden you're getting real personal. Even pain would be more enjoyable than this. I've sent you the link, so you'll be able to see the chat. If it's okay, I kind of really need to rely on you for chat. Today I can't turn my head. So
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Sorry. I'm sorry to laugh at that.
No, it's okay.
Funny.
I actually had to go to neuro. We don't know what's going on with like some of the side effects and consequences of everything. So, it does like really hurt to turn my head. So fun times. Anyone that wants to know if you're listening to this, you can ask me. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm just trying to not bore you.
Oh boy, you're just all over the place with these messages. We're on 3 different messaging systems here. Give me a second. I gotta log into Facebook.
Now we're live, but it says we have a red dot. I don't know why we'd have a red dot.
Is red dot a good dot?
Nope,
like you're
this is
recording.
bad. So I don't know. Hopefully people don't feel like they hate us for our terrible quality, our terrible content.
It looks all right on mine.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know why they're saying like, oh,
I need to stop playing with my friggin' mouth. But did I ever tell you about the time? This will be good. This will be good for your background patron people.
yeah.
So there was a time where I decided that I was good grief. I know I'm literally on it already. There was a time where I was about to go on to an interview, like a video interview like this. And all of a sudden I realized that I was sitting like the teapot, like this, essentially, you know? And then that's all I could think about throughout the entirety of the show was how much I looked like a teapot. What can I do here? Really?
Yep. Data asked about the link going out. It's like I was hoping I would text him as it went out.
Oh, I see what's happening.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
About what?
Sorry. I will focus
That's
in like a second. I just can't get it to. Hi. That's better. A little bit.
I can't help but look to the side. It hurts so much. I'm not strong enough, Brian.
You can do it.
Oh, man.
Lock the background and then adjust the foreground. Ah, jeez.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to keep my head from turning. I'm too curious.
So much worse.
I'm too hungry. Too hungry for knowledge.
It's a problem, isn't it? You know, like when you just really need to see what's over there.
Yeah.
I think you can do it though. I believe in you, man.
I can't, dude.
This way.
I'm going to try to move the second monitor. World Walkers.
Oh no.
What's wrong?
Everything.
Is anyone here yet? I don't see anyone.
It's just me. I'm like having a conniption. It was a quick turnaround for me and the kiddos
Oh, yeah?
here in Russell Base.
Russell Base.
Sure. You know what? That's great. Thank you. Perfect.
When you guys do like team-based game shows, are you the Rustlers?
We should be. No, we haven't. We haven't chosen that one.
You know what I'm terrified of? I'm terrified that it chose like 8 Pacific.
Oh.
So where do I see my queued messages?
I don't know. It's so hard to tell because like it's unlisted, so it's technically live.
It is live
right now. There's no one here.
Scheduled.
Live chat.
Edit.
Oh, that's interesting. So you can change it to top chat so that people like us, you know, the big ones, don't have to see the whole stream.
I saw that,
of your inane comments.
Yeah, well, I posted it now, so hopefully people show up at this
All right,
moment.
It's real now.
It's real. It's live dog. My daughter did her first moonwalk today, so that was amazing.
Very nice. I
showed her a video of the king moonwalking, and her jaw dropped, and she was like, "How did he do that?" I said, "He's magic." She's like, "How did he do that?" I was like, "He is magic." And then I showed her the live Smooth Criminal lean.
The lean, yeah.
Have you ever seen the live one?
Oh yeah.
It's goddamn magic. So she's just like enthralled. And then I really blew her mind. I showed her, she has seen the live version of Finesse on MTV many a time, but did not realize the moonwalk was in there. Then I showed her the moonwalk there, and she's like,
he's a genius. Do you have Hulu?
Oh, yeah, I believe so.
Have you watched Future Man?
Oh, is that with
PETA?
From yeah. I want to see that really bad, and I forgot. Like, I was really hyped for it. And then,
yeah, life happened a little bit.
Touch of life.
A little bit to you.
Yeah.
Well, it's really good. I highly recommend it.
I want to see it really bad.
You know what? Maybe I can't see who's here. No, okay, I can.
I don't think anyone's here. Yeah, it's just me. I posted the link, so there. It's you.
Well, I'm glad that you asked what I'm wearing. I happen to be wearing a shirt from Wes from World Walkers.
Very nice. Oh man.
I was gonna wear the new shirt that I have from Megan, but I wore it on Tuesday, so you know.
The struggle's real.
Now, granted, I wore it for the entirety of
What
my
up,
live stream.
Cali?
Cali.
I'm going back to Cali.
How was your 7:30 stream?
Today?
No, yesterday.
I think it went pretty well.
The new time, right?
7, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I think they they're in Rolanus, and they decided they are part of a guild, and they accepted a mission to go explore some rumblings from the farmlands outside of town, and they caught themselves some little bit of adventure. Frankie gets to make a new character, so that's exciting. He got torn in half in one hit. So,
Isn't that the first game?
That was the second. Thank you. Second game. Yeah. Absolutely ripped in half. The creature was wearing a fur coat by the end of that game. He was a bearkin. First hit of the it's rough. It was rough times.
KO.
Yeah, but opportunity to make new characters is always exciting.
It's true.
Adults move on.
Boy, that seems a little pointed, and he's not here.
He should be here. Actually, I want to make sure he's here.
He ain't here.
I mean, like he should be here soon. I mean,
well, he ain't here right now. It's just us and Callie.
Fucker.
We're hanging out.
Super effective against a bear.
I mean, really, the fact that he was torn asunder is really just a weird World Walker's karma in the total universe
for all the things he's put
of his gameplay.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's him that chopped a person in half non-lethally.
He had some things to say about some things. I'm gonna have to interrupt the video. It's gonna look like poop for a minute. That sucks. Sorry, guys. All right.
It'll be okay. Couldn't even collect the pieces.
Yeah, it was
brutal.
Rough. It was absolutely rough.
See, now that's a pitch right there.
Yeah.
Someone dies tonight.
Yeah.
You should just make those proclamations at the beginning of a game, like before they play. And you're just like, someone's going to die tonight. And they're going to be like, what? No.
What? No, please, no.
Who's it going to be? You better step up your RPG game.
Data is trying to join and isn't having success. I wonder why.
That's right. I said RPG game. Don't hate. With my PIN number.
Is that Data contacting us?
I don't.
It is Data.
I don't know.
He says the link isn't. Callie, did you find the link? Did it work for you?
Where is the link to be found?
Yep. Well, let's edit this.
Maybe like pop it up in that Patreon Discord.
Let's try this. The thumbnail is you holding your shirt.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
YouTube's the easiest one.
Yeah, I would think. All right, let's head back over here. This is why I didn't invite the World Walkers right away, just in case. There you go.
So on YouTube, a recommended video right now is The Last Jedi Defeminized Fan Edit.
Oh, that one is like 48 minutes long?
Yeah.
Fuck that one. Oh.
Man.
Very strong opinion to that bullshit.
Hey.
What's up?
I have a theory for people who want a defeminized version of Star Wars. Go like something else.
That's what I'm saying. Welcome to World Talkers. World Talkers is our reoccurring video series where we talk World Walkers. My name is Pedro. I am the GM and creator of World Walkers. I think you all know that. You're all Patreons, so thank you for the support. With me is Brian from The Underfold at The Underfold, underfold.com or theunderfold.com?
Yeah. Theunderfold.com.
Theunderfold.com, yep.
The Underfold everything.
Yeah, so right about 8:30, we're going to be joined by Megan and Olivia, aka Tin and Ertleby Withers, respectively. But we figured before that we would just kind of chit chat a little bit. If you have questions, start submitting them now. Either send them to Brian, or drop them in the chat, and we'll be collecting them there. But yeah.
I can do something better. Here we go. Yeah.
And then you sign off like I could do something better. Click.
I meant something. Okay, yeah. I see where you got that. I see where you're at. All right, it's fine. Cool. Maybe I can't because I'm incompetent. So I feel like one thing we should talk about while I'm trying to desperately.
Well, I'll give you one more stall. Tonight's episode is exclusively about Fun Times in the Forest, the new side adventure starring Tin and Ertleby. If you haven't caught up, I would recommend watching this at a later point if you don't care about spoilers or you have heard it all. Welcome. Is that enough stall?
All right. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Woo.
Data with the first and most important question. We'll save that for Tin and Ertleby. We'll save that for Megan and Olivia.
Did you?
Yeah.
Pedro didn't. I know that. I know this answer. I'm versed. I'm versed in Pedroisms at this point.
In Pedroisms.
And the answer is Pedro didn't kill anybody. So I think we should talk about a couple things because World Talkers was happening very regularly every week, like clockwork. And then I think it's been a month. I went on vacation, and then we this time schedules did not work out for
Things
the rest
happen,
of the time. And then we were going to do this, and then we weren't going to do it, and now we're doing it, and we got guests.
Yep.
So
I'm pretty excited.
It's going to be great. Let's see.
Oh man, yeah, some questions coming in. These are good questions. Yeah. So I guess, did you like the episode?
Did I? All three of them? Yeah.
Cool.
Of course.
Wow.
They're great episodes.
Hey, Larg's here, aka the King of Wishful Thinking, aka Frank.
What up?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and go back and grab some of these questions.
Did you get any prior?
Not about this episode. I still have.
Well, we can answer some other ones while we wait if you want to.
Sure.
Anything pertinent?
Sure.
Or unless you had anything you want to talk about with the episode first before the guests get here.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What started Relanus? Where was your first foray into Relanus?
I'm not trying to cop out on this answer. I needed an answer for a question that came from another world, and Relanus was my answer. Another way to answer that is that I had gotten to the point where I didn't feel like I had a world that was light and fluffy enough. Like the other worlds at the time were kind of dark or getting dark, had heavier storylines and stuff like that, and I just wanted something that could be fun to play in. And then I also wanted to have a world where the narrative was more manipulative, which is where I feel like Relanus is, because Relanus, the world, it seems like I think the thing I can talk about right now is the path that they were given word recently that in I think episode 59 or 60 that essentially stay on the path. Once you leave the path, that's where things start to happen. So as you listen to the series a bit more and more, then you'll hear more about the fluid nature of Relanus. But yeah, I really just wanted a world where things were a little bit more relaxed and it wasn't so always terrifying as some of my other worlds could be at the time. But I also have a need for the dramatic in my worlds, so Rolanis has its moments.
which we'll get into.
Yeah. But yeah,
we do have a question that you could answer right now.
Okay.
When will we get a Paddington solo podcast about him conquering the Underwood?
It's funny because so there's about there's like I think an hour or so of content after the episode ends, because if you listen past the thank you whatever at the end of the last episode, you can hear a part where Jane comes in.
Yes.
And that's because Jane was there the whole time, and she was just listening. I think I cut most of it out, but every now and then you'll hear me laugh at something and you don't know why I'm laughing. It's because Jane is sending me messages. Like, what is this? What's going on? Like, why? Things like that. So, yeah, so we talked for about an hour, and that was one of the questions that came up was like, I think Olivia was like, could you just do a side adventure where it's just you talking to yourself and just have Paddington work his way out?
Yeah. I think that's one of those like D&D Tumblr posts. Like, I really want to just play D&D by myself and write down all my adventures. Oh, wait, I'm being told that's a book.
Yeah.
I want to write a book.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, I would read that story. That sounds like a great.
I don't ever think of myself as someone who could ever write, and then somebody like sent me like a really nice message going like, I really liked the things that you wrote up for the memories or whatever from the Dreaming Tree. I was like, oh
yeah,
cool. I was like, maybe you should write something. Nope, never. I wasn't convinced.
I would never do it.
Yeah.
Audiobook would work. You like the collaborative storytelling, so you need somebody else to.
Audiobook would be the way to go, but I also like I'm so adamant about the fact that I want the game to be like the podcast to be authentic. It's no disrespect to people who choose other ways to do their actual play / podcast thing, but like I struggle really hard to make sure. Like that's why like we're working on the musical episode right now. Like I'm working on different ways to do it, but it's authenticity first, which is why it's taking a little longer than I wanted to, because I got to figure out how to write it in a way that everything is still played. It's not just like, oh, cool.
Right, like you have to make like a couple different songs just in case you pass or fail.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's look through our questions.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
Yeah.
A lot of people. So let's see. Let's go back. Oh,
that's a great comment. It's kind of Tom Bombadil-esque. That is one of my favorite parts of Lord of the Rings. So,
yeah, he does a similar thing, doesn't he? Like just calls the ground to open up or something.
Mm-hmm. I think so. It's been a while.
Let's see.
Yeah.
What is this about?
While you're looking for stuff, hobgoblins are trying to kill the turtle. Why? Who made the path? The hobgoblin storyline is actually what is coming up. Like the world walkers themselves are going to start dealing with that as soon as the group comes back together. So when we hit episode 61, I believe that's the next storyline. So as for who made the path, that no one's ever gotten close to finding out the origin of the path. So, which for those that don't know, the path is a winding road throughout Rolanis, and what villagers and citizens will tell you is as long as you stay on the path, it's believed that you won't really run into any trouble. Walking off the path opens you to whatever Rolanis has in store for you. So adventurers are those who leave the path. Yeah.
I'm finding so many things. I'm so sorry that I am like
That's all right.
very
I'll just keep
unprepared.
throwing. I'll keep grabbing stuff while you're looking. Data. How do you normally handle player death? A lot of sweaty brow, a lot of shrugs. Um,
I'm just gonna let Data handle it.
no.
This is good.
No. With player death. You know what's funny is that I think this came up in another World Talkers, but the idea of resurrections has not come up in a long time, to the point where I don't think any of the players I have even know how resurrection works. Or another way to say it is that resurrection might be a little straightforward, but there are definitely some complications that different groups might encounter.
Frank is very concerned about how you handle this.
Yeah, I bet.
That is fun. That's an interesting thing, though. Like, have any of your players gotten to the level where they could have resurrection spells?
Yeah, but here's the problem: nobody in my games plays clerics. Nobody plays religious characters of any. No, I don't want to say religious, but divine characters of any sort. So they get to the level where certainly it'd be great to get a resurrection. They just never have one on hand. I mean, it's happened once or twice.
Get a cleric.
I don't know. Like, everyone's like, well, I'll just take the healer feat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okey-dokey.
you do you.
I feel like that's one of those things, though, where we talked about this before. Like, if you start at higher levels for playing, and you like get a little bit of cleric, because cleric feels really boring at first level. You start out and you're like, I don't want to be a cleric.
I love playing cleric. I love playing healers.
Let's see. So, are there druids, clerics, or scholars that just study the path, and what would people of the world call them?
No. So when it comes to Rolanus, like in the path of that, no. I mean, there could be, if a player made one, obviously there would be then, but in terms of the current like lore or whatever, no. The druids, they are very interested in the fact that on Rolanus, as you guys, those who've listened to the side adventure know, the forest seems to be much more than just a collection of trees. They seem to have ancient entities that they're either comprised of or possessed by or something. And so druids don't just turn to the plants and nature. They turn, when they pull their power and their spells, their magic from these entities. And the path that there are scholars and people who would definitely look upon that, but it wouldn't be devoted to any of the specific divine natures.
Cool.
Yeah. So you got
because
another
Enzo was loving that forest.
Yeah, and Enzo, like you can see that Roberto just kind of naturally syncs up with it and goes. It's very easy for him to turn himself over and go, oh, cool. It's like having rangers and druids in your party when you play in Rolanus is pretty fortuitous that way, because you can just, as long as you're willing to kind of give yourself over a bit and you trust the forest you're in. Yeah.
Although we're about to talk about some players who trusted the forest,
and it went great.
Things went crazy.
I'm actually going to throw them the invite real quick while we're hanging out.
Why aren't there more villages and things along the path?
Honestly, mostly because no one's traveled more than a couple like days. So, you know what I mean? Like, further out in the world, there certainly are. But right now, there's Corsetto, which is this huge kingdom. And then there's Southworth, which is a village a couple days south. And then there's a forest nearby. And that's all anyone's seen of Rolanus in the podcast and in the live stream game so far. Yeah.
That's cool. So essentially, you'll build it when they get there.
No, I've got it. There's the answer to these questions is a little different for the World Walkers. Because yeah.
We will learn more.
Yeah. let's see. Anything else? And we can answer real quick.
Does the path avoid these wills? Wait.
Let's see.
So the forest has. Okay, I'm trying to go back.
It has a will. Does the path avoid these wills? That has not been answered yet. It definitely seems to be the for whatever reason, however the path is formed or why it exists, it doesn't typically travel into forest unless the forests are parted. And what did I have for breakfast? I just had cereal. So
I skipped breakfast. Right over it.
They'll be in a second. So,
cool.
Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts on the episode, Brian?
You know what?
Or do you have a lot of your questions for Megan and Olivia?
You know what? I don't have a whole lot of questions, but I just thought the whole thing was just so fun. Like, it was a great, like, number one, some of the funniest moments I think in the podcast. Period. Like, hands down, like gasping for breath, laughing. Megan and Olivia are really great together.
Yeah. We talked about that. I think I was talking to maybe Megan about that. That it's funny that how the group pairs off. That like, Brummelstone is the serious person in the Roberto Brummelstone dynamic. You okay?
Maybe.
I
heard of children.
But like, Brummelstone is the serious aspect for Roberto, but then you go over to like Ertleby is very silly, and then Tin's the serious counter to Ertleby, right. But Tin is very much the silly part to Vasa.
Yes,
and Vasa is the silly part. Yeah.
Oh man.
And
Oh boy. Yeah. There it is. There's the question.
I will definitely answer that question as soon as everyone's together. From Data. Yeah. So they're getting ready right now. Megan and Olivia. Awesome. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I thought the whole thing, it just played really well. I thought I honestly thought it was really funny listening to the episode before of you and Olivia desperately trying to get into the side quest.
Yeah. Well, that was okay. So the way that
Jane just kind of being like, but the way this would play out is I would try to help them. Oh no, I'm ruining everything.
Well, originally I think Olivia wasn't supposed to be there for that game. And then she's like, well, I'll stop in for a bit. And then she kind of played out almost the entirety of the game. And then it was like, well, maybe she'll be there. Maybe she won't be there for the side adventure. Maybe the side adventure. It kept going back and forth. And yeah, I mean, it worked out in the end. But I also, when it comes to the side adventures, I think they're both getting ready to jump in now. Let's see what happens.
I will be right back. My children are screaming for me. And I'm sorry.
No problem. All right. So we are off center just for a bit. As soon as both of them join, then this video will make more sense. Who is this? It's Megan, who is muted with no video. This is going great.
Hello.
Brian has lived. There we go.
I've got to. Can I even hide my video? Oh wait, yeah, I can. Hold on.
Please. Okay, good. Okay. I thought you were gonna like make it disappear. I was like, I have edited this whole layout for 4 people. At least show your name.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah. As soon as you guys signed on, Brian's like, I'll be right back. And I was like, everything's going to shit so fast. Welcome to World Talkers, the world-renowned after show that critics and fans are both calling, yeah, Brian took off for a second. So I guess I'll answer one of the questions in the chat. Olivia, Data Wall had asked, the elephant seems to be a level 4 challenge rating. What level was Ertleby during these events?
Oh, she was not level 4. However, we are on Relanis, and Relanis is the land of if it's cool for the story, it works. If it's cool for the story, it works. This is the amazing thing about Relanis, and don't worry, we'll get to this in a later episode.
No, so I'll elaborate just a touch more. So what happened is that in a recent game, things happened. It was a struggle.
Shit got real.
Shit got real, as they say, in the mean streets of Texas. And
mean dirt roads of Texas.
Yes, yeah. On the Ford-torn roads of Texas. And afterwards there was a level gained by our local druid, and we were kind of flipping through things, and I had realized that much like Data has, that Ertleby should not be an elephant yet, but everybody was so caught up in the moment, and to Olivia's credit, she had kind of telegraphed to me, like, so there's a moment when they see an elephant on COG, and the moment that happens, she sends me a message going like, I am studying this elephant so that one day I can be this elephant. And the moment is so good in the podcast that, like, I was as excited as Megan was. Like, we were both like, oh my God. And yeah, it was so big that neither one of us thought to check the rules. And then when we finally noticed it, we were like, well, no, it does play for Relanis. On Relanis, it makes total sense. Relanis, as Olivia pointed out, does kind of feed into the narrative and reward narrative in a sort of weird way. So the rule that we eventually established was that if Olivia has inspiration, or if Ertleby has inspiration and burns the inspiration, she can use that to turn into the elephant. So we figured out a workaround for it. But mathematically, ironically, for Olivia, the math does not check.
Let Grandma get her elephant.
Yeah.
Animals.
Sorry.
No, I laughed.
I was gonna say I like Brian's background, by the way.
Isn't it cool? Like,
spectacles to investigate it.
And he adds to it, like, throughout the episodes. Like, he's added more and more art to it.
It reminds me of that Charlie photo when it's like got all the red string and like looks.
Yeah.
Figure out where all the cats are.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, this
whole box is Pepe Sylvia.
It's also what my office looks like currently. Just,
nice.
But it's not a set. It's just me being disorganized.
Yeah,
so.
it's
a
hot mess.
I feel like this is organized. It's just like disorganized is just everything all over the floor. Like you took effort to put things on the wall, if that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I know where it all goes.
Or am I laying on the ground? Question.
That's how I podcast.
Yeah.
So
I podcast exclusively out of desperation. It's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to get up for a couple hours. I wonder if anyone's ready to play. But yeah, thanks for coming on, hanging out with us. If you have any questions for Olivia or Megan, start sending them in.
I did have a couple before they got here.
Yeah, what do you got?
Why did you kill Paddington?
Oh yeah, that was like the first question.
Wow, heavy hitter right off the bat.
I have a few points. First of all, Paddington said the forest was mischievous, not murderous. Dude, like set a certain standard for us to think he was gonna be fine until it was too late. If you're doing something where you could potentially get murdered, don't downplay that. Make everyone around you fear for your life. I'm victim blaming hardcore. I'm victim blaming 100%. Paddington killed Paddington.
You know, like, okay, there's a specific webcomic Gamer Cat where it has an episode where he is like he catches the fairy and he drinks it, or no, he's like, oh, I wonder what they're doing with this fairy, and I think the person like puts the fairies in the blender, and he just has this horrified face. That was us. We were like, everything's fine, everything's great, and then Paddington was the fairy in the blender, and we were like, oh no.
I love Callie's response. To be fair, Paddington didn't know because he had never been murdered by the forest before.
Fair point.
Another failing of Paddington.
Yeah. First mistake.
He was a flawed character.
No, but
So
go.
He was the first character you met.
he could still be alive. He's just in Forest Hill. Or maybe he's dead.
Maybe.
Okay, Pedro.
I have the notes right here for
you. Are you allowed to tell us, like, how, if you expected us to try and rescue him or not? Because
I have paragraphs and paragraphs of what would have happened had you gone down there. Sure, yeah. Description.
Don't rub it in too much. We were kind of assuming we could beat the boss, and then Paddington would be there, like Zelda. In Gem.
So since you're all here, I will read you the description I wrote up for the Underwood, if you guys want to hear it.
All right, yeah.
So there's two descriptions. The first one says, pitch black. Once you guys had found a way to see down here. The second description, and it is pitch black. It says, dark, twisted tunnels stretch out ahead of you. Dozens of paths lead higher, lower, and everywhere in between. Roots that pulse like veins race along the walls, your skin able to feel them. If you could see, it would say, every so often you find a hole in a wall with thick roots creating bars that reach out all across the opening. And then, skip that.
Sounds like a whole bunch of nope to me.
I probably shouldn't. Yeah, never mind. People are still playing Real Honest, so I'll skip that.
This thing is making
You're
me
gonna
think
die.
Paddington is still alive down there.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not actively on fire. I was thinking it was actively on fire this whole time.
He might actually be like a cub at this point, like a cub bear in hell that you left him there, and they made him a child, and now they're torturing him through his whole life.
It's Chicago, and he's the cub. No.
I like the way you think, Brian. That's now canon. The Paddington is living a life of eternal torment.
But so I was mentioning earlier, there's like an hour of us hanging out talking afterwards that was recorded, right? And because if you guys had heard, Jane comes in and she starts ripping you guys up and all that, and in Olivia and Megan's defense, they address it right away where they're like, the moment was so good, they felt awkward turning around going, so that Paddington though. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You guys didn't want the story to be affected. So
I do remember, like, and there were so many times where, like, I remember Earlby specifically would be like, oh, it'd be great if we had our friend Paddington here. Yeah. She tried, so
yeah, you did. And I mean, I was playing like Yisrael was very much like a practiced abuser in terms of like the tone I was trying to take. Because there's a point in the in episode 3, I think episode 2 or 3, where it's Megan says, "Is there ever a point where the games are done? Is there ever a point when we're done?" And Yisrael goes, "Dead?" And she goes, "No, done." And like nobody caught it that she was like being like passively aggressively abusive, like, "Dead? No, done." Oh. Like
yeah. Oh, I caught it like when I listened back.
Did you?
Like,
okay, cool.
Shady bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say, like, I have to, like, the part where Paddington does go to hell, the Underwood, excuse me, let's not blend religion here.
Well, Forest Hill has been the name people have been giving it.
I do like that it's like a children's book title. Paddington Goes to Hell.
Yeah, it probably would be, He's already been to the UK. Sorry. Move on. That doesn't make any sense anyways. Anyway, so when he goes, my favorite part was that the first thing out of your mouth, Olivia, was they'll never know.
That's
Oh.
no one will believe you.
No one will ever know. You're not going to tell them, are you,
Oh my
Brian?
gosh, yeah.
I had to pause the podcast. Like I was like, well, I'm done. This is the best part since Shroomy.
Oh, man. Which the plushie's behind me if you look. Josh sent it to me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he mailed it to me a while ago. The first and only World Walkers plushie. Yeah, no, I had people, the two comments I heard the most were people telling me they cried because of Tin's speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then or just crying in general. And then I also heard a lot of compliments about Olivia, your ability to play essentially on the fly 3 versions of Ertleby.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's funny because when editing, I was impressed at your spontaneous songwriting. And no one said shit about that. They're like, wow, she sounds just like a kid. What about that sonnet?
I mean, oh wait, I'll hold it. I'll hold it back.
What? Megan.
What?
Well, I
Just
love
put
that
that out
Megan
there.
had like this amazing speech, and it was just trampled all over like immediately.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Brian mentioned it, so
It's like-
we're
it's
going
like-
into this.
Well, Brian, it's been fun. Let me go ahead and just close you out real quick.
No, we're funny. This is
Yeah.
a funny podcast. Shut up.
No, I would like the record to show that like anytime Tin tries to be like having a moment, everyone else gets points of inspiration on Rolanus. Does Tin ever get a point of inspiration? No. She just does this amazing speech and then it's like, yeah, but we don't care.
There's the fun little trivia I think I told Megan is that I do a lot of musical callbacks. People might not know that, but if you look at the episodes, you can see when this song was used here and now it's being used here and it's supposed to connect purposes and stuff like that. The music that plays when Tin first takes flight in Cog is the same music that plays for her speech. So that's a fun
Nice.
little
Oh,
tie back.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Or
Maybe
like
editing was good. Now I know how amazing it is.
or the song that plays when they first talk
wiki.
about the chasm that opens in the first episode, that's called The House of Leaves, and that song is the boom. Like every time you hear that, like, oh, you saw the hole? Boom. That's like a note from that song. Yeah, so that song keeps coming back in different ways, like, so that was the part that had me. I was like in the middle of the night cracking up, not the middle of the morning. I mean, like I put in those booms and I was like,
Yeah, you did a really
that was the funnest part for me.
the musical like audio editing for those episodes is like mwah, so
Thanks.
good. So good.
Top
Um,
notch.
This is good.
The only thing I was sad about is I wanted more sounds of wood breaking, and I just don't have access to it. So yeah, of the
That's
You don't have any trees you could go out and break?
I don't have time to make
Come on.
wood sounds.
Come
I
on,
should say, yeah.
Just
I-
go out and get you.
I don't have time to George Washington truth out of all the trees around here. Like yeah. There would probably be more sounds if I had access to them, but the company that I used to use, we don't speak of. It did not work out. So now I'm stick with Sirenscape, and they've been awesome. But they don't have. There's just some sounds they don't have. So, yeah. If you ever hear
then
like something in
you're-
a podcast, you're like, oh man, I wish he would have done something with that. I would have. I just don't have it.
Only they had the sound.
But also that plays to like goes back to what Brian and I were talking about. Like, I really try to keep the podcast as authentic as possible. I don't try to add in stuff that I wouldn't normally have access to. So like I don't want to go out and totally record crazy stuff because like I would never when I used to run live games and I didn't have to record them, I would have the soundboard and music and all that. So I try to keep that style still. Like I don't try to put in stuff that I guess why I don't change my voice and stuff like that either. But yep. So keep throwing questions at us. Do you have any
We have one more.
Yeah?
From earlier. Do Tin and Ertleby have any regrets?
From that episode or just in general? Because Tin has a lot of regrets.
So they said that- I assume it's about the 3 episodes because that's what we said. But you know, if you have more,
No, YOLO. That's it. YOLO forever. Just this. Yeah, Ertleby's pretty broken up about Paddington on the inside, and she like regrets not fighting harder for him, getting swept up in the moment. But you'll see more about that in the not the side quest, just the main adventure episodes.
Nice callback to that song there.
It's the best. I will like. It's in my workout mix.
Wait, which song?
Wesley Sidon.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
what are you doing? That song fits the workout mix.
Yeah, he wrote
like,
he wrote one for World Talkers too.
That's the water break song.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's like running, and then you just see her like on the map. It's like a little loop where she goes and does like a fetch quest of something.
But he wrote one for World Talkers too, but I don't know how to play it live.
Sing it.
Nope. No, it's something like and we're walking worlds and we're talking worlds and so da da da, and that's the kind of go back and forth. But at the end of the song, he says like fade out, and we actually fade out in the like it was just happenstance that we actually in the beginning of our videos that we fade out. So later tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to upload the first episode, and I put the song in there. And I was able to line it up so when he says fade out, it fades out from the white screen to Brian, who always goes like this.
Amazing.
You gotta have a thing, and it's not singing for me. So.
Data's interested enough in hearing it. Stall for me. I will. Fuck it.
Can we like fill the time by talking about how good Wesley is at music?
Right?
Like, he's got that like Appalachia, like I don't know. It's so good.
Yeah, it's really cool. Did you see the one he put up recently?
Well, I saw you tweeted it, but I was afraid to click on it.
It's like all swearing. Like my daughter was like, "That's Mabel's daddy," and I said, "Yeah, you want to hear it?" She's like, "Yeah." Fuck, Windows 10, fuck, like.
Yeah, he was struggling with the Windows 10 update today with his Wacom.
Makes me I need to update because I'm on Windows 7 still, and I just haven't.
I updated right away because I have a Mac.
Whatever.
Macs are good.
I
like Macs.
I do all right with my Mac, I guess.
Olivia, how could you? This is betrayal.
Betrayal.
Good. No. Okay. So again,
Macs
while
are
you
good.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, never mind. Continue.
All right, here we go.
Have to go down a sidetrack.
We're walking worlds and we're talking worlds with Pedro. Yeah, we're walking worlds and we're talking worlds with Pedro. Brian's here too. He's here to ask questions for you about D&D or really anything. 'Cause we're walking worlds and we're talking worlds with Pedro. I did the show. That's what I did the show. Here we go. Faded.
That was a sweet wave. I was just over here clicking
That's
it, making
great.
sure it all worked.
That was really good.
Yeah. But it's like it's green waveform, and then the show. and it's just yellow spikes. Like, so I had to do some compression. Oh man,
I love that. He had sent it to me too, and I've been
Really?
like, "Oh man, we gotta figure that out."
I don't know enough about this stuff. Like, I'm always like at the just freaking out. Like, do things work and dice and okay, let's play. But do you, Megan, Olivia, what do you enjoy the fact that you are now part of the side adventure crew? As in, did you guys like doing the side adventure? Do you find a
Yes.
difference between like what was essentially like a one shot versus the normal rigmarole of every week play?
Yeah, I for me personally, like I've always loved like I love that each character, like when they're paired off with a different character in the group, has like their own special fun dynamic. And I think that there's like, not to pick favorites, but I do think like Ertleby's always been like one of my favorite ones to role play with, because like I think Tin and Ertleby kind of have a little bit of that similarity, that similar background, and then they're also like Tin will pull back and be more serious, but at times they both just like let loose and are kind of goofy together. So it's
Yeah.
fun.
I always think when I think about how goofy Tin can get, I think about when you went to Vasa like she was like mafioso to try to
Oh,
buy the elephant. Like that's to me a defining that, and she was a sweet old lady.
Oh,
Like you
yeah.
with the jam on your hand, I think, or yeah.
Or yeah, he like the caption came out and he was like, "What is this?" And I was
Yeah,
that's the first thing that came to mind.
yeah.
But
That was a good one.
Yeah.
for me, like I feel like the goofiest she was whenever she just like randomly, arbitrarily decided, was like, don't help us. I think it was like Ertleby, like it was
Oh
her
my-
and Vasa fighting. She's like, don't help us, Ertleby, I've got this. And like Vasa was just getting like thrown around in the background.
I don't know if I've ever asked you two, do you realize how close the game almost like came to ending?
That wait, which one?
When you guys were fighting the two nightmare giants,
Mm.
and like it was like, no, Gunslinger's Code, and you kept evoking like rules in the Gunslinger's Code that don't exist. It's not even called the Gunslinger's Code, and like you were like like Jane's trying to keep the group alive, and you guys are like, hey, like I went to bed that night going like, I think they're gonna die.
Good at fighting.
There's been a number of times I go to bed, my wife goes, how'd the game go? And I was like, I think they're gonna fucking die. And she's like, you mean like one of the, well, she goes, you mean like one of the characters? I was like, no, I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, like, I think the group's gonna wipe. And that was one of the nights.
Nothing.
And she was like, stop it. Don't fucking kill them. We need this. And I'm like, baby, I'm not the one attacking them. Like, and she's like, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, baby, it's the Brotherhood or it's the Giants. She's like, fucking, I am not talking to you about this. And she goes to sleep.
So real quick about that fight, and then I'll hand it over to Olivia because I don't want to like hog the question or whatever. But after that fight, I did realize like I was like, that was kind of a dick move to like kind of play with somebody's character like that. But then Vasa makes up for it in much later episodes, so we're all good. Anyways, off to Olivia.
I'd totally forgotten about the no, we got this.
Yeah.
We got this. No worries. That one fight. Oh man.
That's
I
true. The
was
only
so
way to kill a
happy
good
for the
player with a character sheet is a bad NPC with a character sheet. Sorry, go on.
That's what I always say. No, Megan like was my first webcomics buddy, and so like the chance to like go on a little adventure with her was very, very emotionally special for me. And it's so there's so many similarities between Ertleby and Tin, that they're like both from COG, they're both gunslingers, but their roads to that point are so different. And like often I feel like we all interact like a lot with all the other people. Like Brummelstone and Roborto pair up a lot, being brothers, but like in terms of it, like I don't think Megan and I had really had alone time ever, or like special bonding time really.
Yeah.
And it was awesome to finally have that and not die. We didn't die. It was
we had a glimpse of it on the ship in Cog
Yeah.
when we were like going up to Gideon, and it was like that funny little goofy moment, but
Oh man.
It worked really well though, because you guys wound up playing like the goof and the straight man sort of a thing, like where Tin was forced into the serious role, which was hilarious in a number of ways. But you know, with Ertleby, just like, oh, bring on the vines, and Tin's like, no, why? We'll fly over the vine. It's like, no, we're swinging.
Oh man.
I also love the visual gag of Tin. You're like, all right, here it is. It's finally time for me to use my cloak. My words have been chosen. They're hip hip hooray. And like you use them and you rise from the ground. Like immediately a tree, like
very like normal of Tin's situation in life.
You're like a weekly car with the Whomping Willow.
I forgot. I'm looking at the notes, see if there's anything else interesting. There was a whole nother section of the game. You're gonna hate me, Megan. There's a whole nother section of the story. If you had making different choices, you would have encountered the dog spirits. I wrote up a whole thing about like dog based spirits in the forest. I forgot all about this till now.
Good thing we hadn't, because if we had, Tin would still be there.
Yeah.
My fur babies.
These are my children now.
Yeah. So one of the questions I wanted to ask is, was there? I think when you're a player, sometimes like a GM like myself will try to craft up these tempting situations. Like, what if you stayed in the forest? This. And I think that it's as genuine as someone like me wants to make it. I think a lot of times we know that a player isn't usually going to give up their character for the situation. You know, it's more of a chance to show the character overcoming the situation rather than a true temptation. But was there ever a point where either of you were like, I don't know, guys, like a two-part question. Was there ever a point where either one of you thought maybe you would stay in the forest or bring the group in? And the second question is like, at the time at least, how much of the forest did you believe?
Olivia, you go first if you want.
I trusted the forest a lot. I mean, like I think if the forest had a better attitude, I would have considered it as like more of an ally to be like, all right, forest, stay here. We're gonna go get our friends and come back and like coordinate with you.
Mm-hmm.
But the forest was kind of cray, and I was like, better get out of the forest. It ate a bear. And because I mean, it reveals at the end that it knows a lot more information than it like had let on at first. That it has a lot of power that like didn't necessarily like appreciate the relevance of that to the loss of the dreaming tree when we're getting tickled to tickle death. And as a result, it's like, oh wow, forest like could be really relevant in the fight against the nightmares. But forest, you are a loose cannon. You're a rogue agent, forest, and like you just tried to kill us. You also just said you loved us as we left. You're sending us mixed signals, forest. And I think without those, I would have definitely been like, rest of team, like there's this thing, like not stayed there, but tried to like use it somehow.
Yeah.
It's a really chill forest. We should go hang.
Guys, guess what Tim and I found? It's super cool. You might even say it's radical. Anyway, we should go there. It's nice.
Some of you are going to love this.
Chibi versions of everybody. That's what I want.
Yeah, for me, I think like immediately I kind of knew what the game was about. It was like this whimsical spirit, um, like in denial and such about like everything that was going on. And I felt like as a player, but also as a character, like it's like it would have been like for me as I think a player, and even like Tin as her character arc or whatever, I feel like it would have been a not satisfying of an ending as
Yeah.
what I would want for her. So like to be like, yeah, we're just gonna kick up our heels, and like that seems very not Tin.
Yeah,
Tin
yeah.
is very much like dig in your heels and like push through. So yeah, she just like I think viewed it as let's just get Ertleby out of here safely because like I know I'm gonna get out of here. Let's hopefully like hold on to her. So yeah. I don't even think like I don't think at any part in the game like so far like in the episodes like that Tin's ever had a moment where she's like, yeah, let's just throw in the towel. Like
Yeah.
no, I think if anything, it's been like proven to her more and more again that it's like we fucked. We need to like. So.
And I want to like insert like a compliment for Pedro because as the game's gone on, like more and more often, like we've been faced with choices like these, but like it hasn't been like the choice at the end of this game, the side adventure. It was like a nice end cap and like not really one where it's like, oh, we give up on the quest. We're like that wasn't really this like thing. But you've introduced other temptations that like it doesn't end the game, but it does mean a big change for the character.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
less like and like especially in recent games, I will not reveal what that means, but like
It's hard. I'm editing June right now. That's how far away
well,
we
good thing you
are.
got cancer.
I
That
know.
way-
I said it every day.
Oh
Like, as a guy, one way or another, it's almost over. You know, it's great.
Oh my God.
I know it seems like it's far off, but Pedro had cancer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we
And
can
then
make
we'll
it-
just release everything. No more of his editorial censorships.
Yeah, man. We do our
Just
own
full
end.
crosstalk.
And we like find this like basket of 8 shards, and we're like, yay!
We did it.
Somebody left these shards laying around.
Pedro, you
Yeah.
can't die. Just putting that out there. No dying. That's a horribly unsatisfying ending. for
No.
walkers.
No, yeah. I don't want to disappoint you guys.
That was like your plan for the next game. And you're like,
It's just like-
delete basket of shards.
Cliff.
Delete.
Cliffhanger.
Like, but also,
Stop
could you
that. No dying.
could you imagine though if we came back to the team, like especially if Jane, because Jane was listening during the entire thing, and I kind of forgot that she was there because I was just so immersed in it and everything. But
Just making sure we wouldn't kill ourselves.
right, could you imagine like how pissed off everyone would be if we're like,
It's
hey
like-
guys, we wanted a side adventure and we decided to just stay in paradise. So
I can't wait to show you guys my new character. What do you mean?
You're gonna have to listen to
And they're all
that. You know what? That would have been an amazing Patreon level like type of thing, though. Like, so there's 2 new characters. If you want to find out what happened to the old characters,
It would
Well,
be really
there
amazing
was-
if something like that happened in a future side adventure.
uh-oh.
It would be very interesting.
Bum bum bum.
I will say that I was
That is a
gonna
fear
say-
I have. I have a fear that someone's going to die in a side adventure. I'm going to feel super guilty.
I think it would be kind of awesome. I mean,
If
don't
it
get me
happens, it
wrong,
happens. But
I love all the characters, but like, it'd be a pretty good story. Like, what happened to Roberto? Uh-oh.
patrons know. I'd ask one of them.
trying to find out.
I'd ask your friends MasterCard or Visa.
So at the end of the story, and you guys have finally like convinced the thing to let you go, were you concerned that Pedro was going to leave you as a child?
I
I
kind
was.
of expected it. I was like, cool, new character. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, she kind of behaves like a child already. But I was imagining changing the avatar and being like, now she's the baby who travels with them. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like a child with like a huge pistol, like
Just like I'm holding this gigantic gun.
You get like a free 5-foot move every time you take a shot.
It didn't matter much for Tin, so.
Yeah. Your de-aging didn't really affect too much.
I just was extra shiny
Yeah,
for a little
yeah.
bit. A shiny Tin appears.
So, I was curious. I think I know the answer for Megan, but Olivia, do you listen to the podcast at all?
I do, yeah.
Do you? That's cool. Have you listened to all the side adventures?
Not all of them.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, all of this one, and
Because I accidentally spoiled the Travelers for Megan. I thought she had listened to it.
oh, I listened to the Travelers. The Travelers. I think the thing is, like, I didn't finish the last part of Rummelstone's side adventure.
Yeah.
Because it was too jealous. I've got a crush on Rummelstone. And hearing about giving Claiborne, it was just like I was third wheel in that relationship. But yeah, Megan, listen to the Travelers. I drew fan art for the Travelers.
I know, yeah, that was awesome.
Amazing.
I sent that to one of my old players who played in the campaign that the Chronos came from, and he was like, I still can't look at those fuckers. I still hate them so much. Fuck them. Like, because that was what we call it I used to do Data was just talking about it in chat the other day. This is actually a fun thought or a fun conversation. So I used to run Campaign Busters, where I would put a world on the line and I would play for a summer, and the players would just kind of do everything they could to try to save the world. And then by the end of the summer, when we all had to go back to school or college or whatever, if they didn't save the world in time, the world would end. And at one point I took it up to like Cosmos Buster, I guess. Like, I did a big storyline where these time travelers from Obrimos were trying to end all of the worlds, and I had like 2 or 3 groups at a time playing, trying to hunt them down, 2 groups at a time, trying to hunt down the Chronos and kill them before they destroyed each world. And that's where they come from. And one of the listeners was in the Discord chat and was like, after the last episode of Fun Times in the Forest, like, I have a question. I don't know if Pedro's going to answer it, though. And he said something to the effect of, like, is this like a universe destroying campaign the World Walkers were in? And I looked at my phone. It was like 8:30, a little before 8:30 in the morning, and I looked at it and went, and I cracked up laughing, and I sent the message to one of my old players. I was like, check this out. He goes, oh, that's adorable. He doesn't know. All your games are fucking campaign busters. Like,
World Walkers is Pedro's response to us asking for a nice, lighthearted, fun game.
Yeah, sure. I can do that.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. It's hard for me to keep everything off that kind of scale. Like, even Rolana's, which I started as a nice, fun storybook world, has like a dark underside. It's hard for me to like stay away from that tone. But
I will say that it's a good, like, you guys manage to keep like a really good balance of really, really funny and also having those moments where you're like, oh, that was surprisingly heartfelt or like really inspired. That was like Megan's speech in this last episode, it was like it was a good speech. And then it was like right back into funny, like it's just like
yeah.
But that's like a really good balance, because it's either like I've listened to a couple now, and it's either like all like fart jokes, or like super serious, and it's like this is so boring.
Yeah,
someone likes this, but it's not me.
I stumbled across Glass Cannon they're the most similar to us that I could find, where like they don't approach the game the way we do. They approach the game as a show first. So like they all are giving performances. I their words, not mine. But they try to mix it between like dramatic and funny and stuff like that. They have like really powerful moments, and then they also get like really goofy, silly breaks right afterwards and stuff. So no, I really like our balance. But what I like about our balance is that it's pretty natural. Like I have gone back and forth as to whether or not I want to live stream anymore. And at one time I wanted to live stream World Walkers. That was the original goal. I was like, I don't have time to edit a podcast. Like, let's just live stream it and move on. And I'm so glad I don't live stream, because like I really like the fact that I feel like when we turn on the game, like we all link up through Zoom and we sit down, and none of us are thinking about the fact it's going to be heard somewhere. I don't think, maybe someone every now and then throws in something for a listener, but I don't think that's the majority of the game by a long shot. I think most of it, I think we're all just playing. So
Yeah. I think some of like the best moments, like I think it just comes from like, I'm so grateful that everyone has like such great like chemistry and stuff, and we just naturally bring out the I guess humor in each other. Because like, yeah, I don't think any of it was ever planned. Like it just kind of all like word vomits out. So any of the funny moments and such, at least on my end, like, but yeah.
Yeah, I was really lucky that you guys had played ahead of time together under somebody else, because like you already knew that you wanted to play with each other. So that was a big step towards making sure the group would work as a whole, because you guys had already had a little bit of experience as a group. So that was nice. Yep.
Yeah, it's a credit to you, because you, just getting back to the balance thing, Pedro always puts us in these situations where like jokes just aren't thematically appropriate, and like obviously, like the thing we would do is like and he's so good at doing it, and it's so compelling, we have to respond seriously and vibe off it, because it's really cool and the moment's so good. But then you also play like great comedy characters too, like Tompkins, and like you can kind of like teach us by like going between like the serious like and like I think there's also just like a lot of love. Like I think that's the thing that like suffuses this group and this community, is just like, oh no, I love y'all. It's such a nice group to be with.
It's really fun. Yeah. I really wish that we all lived near each other to play together in a room. That's
that
like
you're the one I don't know who like his height. Like I mean I know it because you've told us, but it like how tall you are.
5'7".
Now we've tall. Yeah. Like you've told us that.
Oh.
But it like my brain doesn't scale people until I've actually seen them. So it's like could be any height.
Well, Wesley tells me that I'm taller than him, if that helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will. I'm like imagining you like copy paste Wesley.
Yeah.
Like a hat on now. Scaled up a little.
I was gonna say like a quick shout out to Amazing Internet Age, because like I think it's really cool that like I've managed to find this group of people who are really funny, and like the fact that we were able to meet up at like AwesomeCon, and then it like didn't seem like any different. Like it was like there was no awkwardness. It was just like straight into the razzing. Like, so it was good.
I had one last thing to add, which is if you wanted proof that we're not thinking at all about the audience at like during game time, we keep doing stuff where we're like, oh, and then Ertleby does this, and like we do some like like gesture, and then it like that's it. We're like moving on.
That is super fun to edit. Is like there's a couple there is one moment where like it was in Fun Times in the Forest, one of the episodes, where like Olivia went into this really long description, but she went into it like 2 minutes later, and I was like, oh, fuck, we really need that context. Like I actually did have to cut that part out and move it back like 2 or 3 minutes ago. Yeah.
That does remind me of in the episodes of like Ertleby and Tin having full on conversations with just their eyes, and we were like, she would say this with her eyes. And then Pedro had to step in and was like, no.
At was one point I had to call it. Yeah, I was pretty cool with it for a while, and I actually cut out, like, you guys went even longer, and I had to cut out some of the comments because it was like this. One thing I have to do when I edit the podcast is I try to balance it for somebody who's trying to listen, but is also like driving or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to hear so much of a thing that's not happening that they forget, like, what are we talking about now? So, like, it was really funny. Like, I think it's like it went on for like 2 or 3 minutes, like all the stuff that Megan was trying to say with her eyes, and I had to like skin it down because like I have to keep in mind that like somebody might eventually just get lost and like, wait, so what's happening?
Well, they can't see your eyes. That's the problem.
They can't. Well, right. If only.
If they would
If
look into
only
my
you could
eyes, they would know. No, I will say, like, again, back to just praising you, Pedro, real quick on the audio editing and stuff is, I don't know. I think that you've just improved so much since like the beginning of the series. And like, cause I was listening to it, through the episodes, like while I was working, and it was like really, really fun. So I actually think I'm going, like, I don't listen to the podcast cause I would cringe at myself, but I might start going back and like catching up from where I left off and like listening through the podcast.
Olivia had a fun idea last game. She said that the group should get together and talk about the game at a campfire, remembering everything that's happened, but without reviewing things first to see how wrong they are.
Yeah. Just like everyone putting together their recollections and character. I want to do that.
Yeah, like, that'd be really fun.
Like, I say in the next month, we just pick a like time or like spend a game to do it and like recap. Like maybe, all right, when we finish the thing we are doing right now, currently in the
we
game,
should do it before then.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pedro,
Wait,
no!
What? It'd be for the
Pedro
best.
always stresses me out when he does this shit. Oh my god.
If you like doing it in your current character voice, we should do it like next.
Yeah.
Well, I'm down.
I will say there are 2 things that are foreshadowed that I'm super excited about. In episode 1 of Fun Times in the Forest, there is a really heavy foreshadow in a moment, and so far no one's picked up on it. Even the World Walkers that have listened to it, they haven't caught it yet. So that's really fun. And then there's an event. And then there's a situation that occurs. This one you guys should know. There is a moment where Olivia starts asking a very important question, and she's given very important information about something, and it doesn't seem. I never thought it'd be relevant again.
Yes.
And then maybe like a month or 2 ago, it suddenly like it all comes back, but I don't think they remember enough, and terrible things happen. So like, try to commit these episodes to memory because they will pay off.
Pedro, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm gonna
That's
post.
Not fair.
I'm gonna. I'll leave it in the chat. Hold on a second.
You know what's funny though, because I went back and started re-listening just for this show. So started on episode 1, and I was like, I'm gonna re-listen. I mean, it's been a while, and like in the very first episode, like every single person's door that they come through changes. And even in that instance, when Wes and Roberto walk through, there's like a gray mist that comes through. And I was like, gosh darn it, he knows everything ahead of time. It's so good.
Well, there's
frustrated with like my terrible storytelling abilities. And I was just like, well, this is good. I'm happy that this exists.
I will. Okay, so there's one that nobody ever caught. and I'll leave the you know what, if I can find it real quick, I'll throw it because everyone's been hanging out with us. I'll throw this bone at you. I leave in lots of little clues and layers and stuff like that. And if you'll permit me, I'll give you guys at the stall for me. I'll pull this up. No one's ever found it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it now since everyone's been hanging out with us so patiently.
Monocles.
So
This is my hair tie monocle. You stalling time.
yep. Okay. So here is the description for Mercurius. Soft bright light hits your eyes, and as you leave the subtle yet welcoming atmosphere of the tavern, you open your eyes to see a splendid city of marvels before you. Cobblestone streets made of everything from gravel to precious metals make up the pathways of the city. The buildings come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, everything from archaic steeples with piles of oranges in the windows to magnificent mansions full of many rooms and chambers. There doesn't seem to be any sort of rhyme or reason to the placement of the buildings. Just as perplexing as the buildings are the people. There are noble knights in suits of armor, composed of pajamas, and kids wearing the robes of archmages and dukes. Everyone seems content. You can't find an unhappy face in the crowd. Kind of goes on a little bit. I think that's enough to drop. And then...
What?
No, I mean, like, yeah, it shouldn't. So it's, and then... way later... the description for Cosnick. The Falcon begins its descent towards the docks of one of the oddest cities most of you have ever seen. In the middle of a wide-reaching, peaceful valley is a splendid city of marvels. Paved streets made from some sort of black gravel-like rock make up the pathways of the city. The buildings come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, everything from old steeples that now serve as produce markets to long buildings made of bricks, mortar, and glass. The placement of the buildings seems to be very well planned. As the deeper into the city you go, the higher the buildings get. Just as interesting as the city are the people. Commoners with one set of clothes to their name share the streets with well-to-do merchants and people of a higher class wearing what you can only assume are the garments of dukes and duchesses. Everyone seems rushed and cautious. You don't see a carefree face in the crowd.
What? What?
So there's a reason why they're similar, but yeah. I put that in there and I was like, this is how dumb I am. I was like, I put that in there and I was like, God, no one's gonna they're gonna get it. It's God, like that is so fucking like me reaching out going, guys, I'm smart, look at this. And then like, it was like half a year later, I asked my brother who knows, like he's played in all my games. And I was like, so did you catch that thing in that one episode? And he's like, and I was like, it's in the beginning of this episode. And he was like, I was like, oh, shit. So there's lots of little things like that throughout the podcast.
I like Wes's comments.
Oh, hey, Wes.
Gotcha. Nothing alike. No connection. That's how I feel sometimes. Even when Pedro was like, do you get it? Do you, And I'm like, no.
It happened with this episode where I said, so you've listened to all 3 episodes, right? And she's like, yeah. I was like, what did you think of this? And she's like, I don't know. What do you mean? I was like, nothing.
Well, yeah, you say foreshadowing, but I think he was saying that there's some kind of foreshadowing, and I was like, you mean the stuff that I already know about I don't.
I thought because like you guys experienced something in one part of the podcast that hasn't played out yet. I was like, so now you've listened to it. What do you think? And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what? Nothing. Why?
But then again, like there's a point. I don't think we've gotten to it yet, but there's a part where there's this really big explanation, and I'm sure you're gonna have to like edit basically me out of this entire part because it's just me going, I don't get it over and over again.
Wait, I think I know which part.
What?
Yeah.
I hate to do this to the group, man. You guys have to tell me about this afterwards. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much me. Like, I mean, same thing with my character. I didn't create it with much backstory or much thought, and like it's how I play with my character.
That happened. That was a great moment where it's like, wow, what happened? Wasn't it just recently?
Oh, I guess it was in the side episode, right? Because Ertleby's like, oh,
yeah, it's like, so tell me about your past. Oh, not much to me. Almost as if hadn't put any real thought into it at all.
Into a backstory. But like the great thing, like having a extended backstory doesn't make your character better. And like Tin has gotten through the story like this like huge emotional pull of Nina's death, and like that whole experience, and that gives her like that makes her such a good character.
Can I share the pitch I gave to you for your the side adventure that didn't happen, Tin? Or Megan?
Oh, for me, yeah. Oh, you mean the one that doesn't happen a little bit later in the?
No, not that. So when we were one of the episodes that I still have to do is Olivia and I have to sit down and record the Ertleby backstory episode. But we had put up a vote for a whole bunch of people, and Ertleby won. But do you remember the one I pitched to you for Tin?
Yes.
Do you mind if I share it?
Yeah, go for it.
The one that I pitched is I wanted to do a game where Megan played the person that used to control Tin back when she didn't have any autonomy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That one, I had written up some stuff for that. So start
Actually,
pressuring
I don't
Megan.
remember that.
Oh, really?
I thought it was the one where.
Yes, I also remember these things.
I thought it was the one where I was gonna play as like when Tin first met Nina.
That was what you pitched me. You were like, no, try again. And I said, oh, cool, all right.
Nice try, motherfucker.
You're like, I'm not playing somebody else. I'm gonna play Tin. I said, all right, right on.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. That's a good idea.
But I think it was through text. I couldn't tell if you were like mad or busy. Because it was like, no.
It's a common theme.
Yeah. Well, I know once I knock out the Ertleby backstory episode, then I want to do another like milestone goal thingy. But I feel like I have to. Frank and I haven't knocked out the final episode of Colossus versus the World, so I feel bad about that. Then I have to do the Ertleby episode. Then we have to do the musical. So like, I want to offer up the other backstories, but I feel like it's terribly irresponsible to do so with these projects hovering above me.
Again, common theme. I totally forgot about the musical episode.
Oh, I haven't. I've been working on it. I have an outline for it. I'm just trying to figure out.
Idea.
What?
Where's my ukulele?
So the musical episode was practically Megan's idea.
Yeah.
During a live draw.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
You and Brian are fucking co-conspirators because you threw the idea out. Brian latched onto it and then started posting on Twitter, going like $500 milestone.
Oh yeah, I remember. I
musical
remember
episode.
that.
So I put it up as a joke because I was like, well, no one's gonna pay me fucking $500 to do this. Like,
joke's on you, Pedro.
Yeah.
Look it up and make that musical episode.
I'm ready. I went and got this. I don't know what my plan was. It's not like I'm gonna play it right now.
That is true. Data Wall. That is true. Data said on the Menross stream they saw Roberto's birthplace. Right. That is true. Yeah, they went to the hall where Roberto was born because they were kind of world skipping themselves. Yeah, they kind of they tried to use this teleportation device, but they kept failing, and it kept like scattering them around the different worlds. I think they ended up on a world you guys haven't been to yet.
They were on some hellscape at some point, I thought.
Yep. Yeah, you haven't been there yet. But yeah, they kind of got thrown around all randomly.
Well done.
Yeah. Did you have any questions yourself, Brian?
Get crushed. Questions? No. I've voiced my opinions about their best parts.
Yeah.
I just think it was so fun to have both of you together because you guys did wind up making like a really good team, and that does make me look forward to the potential of, if ever it actually happens, of when all the gunslingers go back to COG and wreck stuff.
Yes, which is happening. I need to have that happen really soon. You know about that, Olivia and Megan, right?
Yeah, you've mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do it a live stream anymore, but it'll be at least a podcast. Yeah, the battle for Cosnick, where all the gunslingers come together and decide what happens to Cosnick one way or another.
The reckoning.
Yeah, pretty much. In one of the games in the Savage Worlds game that we play on Tuesdays, the group took their airship to try to like look over at Cosnick and see if it was still safe to land there.
There's just like a cloud of dust.
Yeah, there's like
everyone's punching everybody else.
yeah. That was their goal, was to look over the side and go like
Tin's tripping all the kids.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
funny.
if-
Tin just doesn't have a good time with small things.
Yeah, no.
Small mushrooms, bad news, children stealing all your money.
Yeah. I still don't have any money. Like, to the current point that we're playing, that kid wrecked my shit.
It's really funny because like in the COG group that's running, they're just flushed with cash. It's such a different situation. Like they just like have thousands and thousands of gold flying around.
That's
and-
bullshit.
Yeah.
No,
Can they like leave it somewhere and then we'll just go pick it up? Like we'll watch the game. They're like, we put the gold in this basket next to these 8 shards, and then we're like, great.
Oh
Where is
my gosh. Well, that's what used to happen.
Hawkins, go. Get
I
it.
used to run what was essentially like a living world style campaign. I had like 20 some players, and they would listen in and find out what was happening in their games and go jump each other and stuff. And like it was like this massive player versus player environment. It was in high school, so like that's all anybody wanted to do was kill each other.
But it makes all right. No, it's if you're a Savage Worlds player, they're the ones with the gold, right?
Yeah.
Can you like put that gold somewhere and just be like, let's just put 200 gold. We're broke.
No,
Broke.
but
We'll pay Hopkins to get it. It's gonna be fine.
Thanks.
Hmm.
The one thing that I remember though is like the very beginning when we didn't have money then either was
There's
I
a
was like,
theme.
oh, I'll just go, yeah, I'll just go and like while we're hanging out and everyone's canvassing the city, I'll go like wash dishes and like actually get a job. And I was like, how much would that get me? And you're like 2 gold after like a week or something. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It's like you want us to steal stuff.
It's no. So like D&D actually has these rules where like you pick the level of comfort in which your character's living, and then that costs you X amount of gold like a day or a month, and then they tell you how much gold you make per day of hard work too.
Ugh.
It's very weird.
Who plays that kind of D&D?
I
Who's
don't
like,
Mm,
can't
yeah,
wait
yeah.
to be a cobbler in a fantasy world. You guys have fun going fight bandits. I'm gonna be cobbling some shoes.
Putting your gold into your cobbler Roth IRA and like my employer matches my cobbler 401k up to 5%.
It's like, "This works, I'll let you see. I'll be there as soon as I'm done. I get off at 5:30. Oh wait, I took a long lunch. I'll get off at 6. See his works out on the field. Just let him
roll
know.
to see,
So-
roll to see how your investment portfolio is performing.
Looks like the market's bullish.
So yes, in my defense, as one of the players points out, if you had tried to help an artist, they said the reason they're so flushed with cash is they're working for the artist that you guys were heading towards.
That's silly. Artists don't make a lot of money.
This seems fake. That
It's
sounds fake, but okay.
Bunch of lies.
it's one of my favorite moments of the game was when I was talking about the artist who needs inspiration. I think it's Megan who's like, "Fuck that dude, need inspiration." Oh, how and like suddenly like you just started trashing Desperanza real bad about like how fucking like shitty it was that he wanted a shard for inspiration. He's like, you know what? If you don't have it, you don't have it, buddy. Like
Oh, did I? Oh well.
that was his name, by the way, is Desperanza. Yeah, he's
That's
very
a great name.
Because he's
I regret not
desperate.
being
yeah. It's like
good zing.
yeah yes real is yes real.
Mm-hmm.
Israel.
Yeah, yes real is yes real.
Israel.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Wait,
do
did
that again.
the forest
Yeah.
come up with that name? It's like, here is my person. She is
She is real.
Yes,
No.
yes, real.
Most of my names are puns or plays. Like in the game that happened last Wednesday, that's like I spent a lot of time like there's like this like silly like farming family, and there's Harrison, and then all the boys have O's in their name, and then all the girls have A's in their name, and they're all H. And like I really like names. I spend way too much time on names. Yeah, so Desperanza is desperate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. That's good stuff.
Yep.
That's the quality content we're here for.
Yeah. Oh man. Did
That's the person that came up with a family tree that goes back like 6 generations.
if there's any other questions, start throwing them out. We're getting towards the end of this little adventure, so yeah, throw them out. Megan or Olivia, do you guys have questions?
What was the foreshadowing in part 1?
I can't say it. Do you
Nice
have
try,
any yeah or maybe do you have any theories, like what theories did you come up with, any theories after the end of episode 3 of Fun Times in the Forest? Like once the thing was done, what did you think of everything? Like did you pretty much think the forest was a bunch of shit and who cares and move on, or I feel like Megan has a thought.
Yeah.
She's
I mean,
giggling
you pretty
somewhere.
much you pretty much summed it up. It was like
That's
Tin was like, "That's a lot of doom and gloom. Let's move on."
Yeah.
That was it.
I can see, like, I know I earlier in this was like, oh, if the force had like not tried to kill us, I would have like really tried to make it an ally. But I can still see it as an ally later, because like I did not think it was full of shit. I was like, Forrest, I trust you. You know a lot about dreaming. You're wise and everything. So I can see coming back to it and being like, hey, Forrest, hey, Bay. And we do interact with the forest more in
upcoming,
episodes,
yeah.
but like I can see it like in a more epic scale, like seeing the forest as an ally down the road.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like it's that kind of like a cosmic being that it's so far removed. It's like, yeah, the worlds are all ending, but also games. Yeah, like it's so used to just being eternal in the sort of like, yeah, but
Well, that's
things.
what I'll admit. I don't usually share this much, I don't think, but like that was kind of what I was trying to push for, was the idea that like it was so nonchalant. I was trying to impress upon in the story that like there's a reason the forest isn't scared. Like, I mean, like there's basically, listening to the episode, you can come to 2 different conclusions. Either the forest is naive and does not understand what's happening, or the forest totally gets it and isn't scared. Like maybe a lot of other things are scared, but the forest does not feel threatened by what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tin, I think based on like the speech that I gave and stuff, I think she was definitely under the impression that it's like, Forrest,
Come on.
you don't get it.
Yeah. Help me help you. Like
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ertleby's like, I sense great power from you. And then she got distracted by like a cool rock and was like, oh, this looks like Roberto's knee. And like moved on to the next thing. Like,
I was just gonna say, like, I just kind of realized that, like, Brommelstone has Arcana and like all that wisdom. Vasa has like about a lot of like the charisma and like can smooth talk her way out of it. Ertleby has like this really useful skill of like talking to the environment, basically. And like I was like, what is Tin? Tin doesn't have anything. She just kind of is like bumbling around.
Tin
about,
has
like,
escalation skills. Because I think I had one listener who pointed out, they said, man, like how would hide and seek have gone if Tin didn't just fucking draw a rifle on the tickle monster? Like that poor thing was just trying to tickle Ertleby. Like she wasn't getting hurt, and then Tin opened fire on it, and it's just like,
Uh,
oh my god! Like,
That's how we do here.
so I think that's your skill is escalation.
This is my question. We did not perform the best at hide and seek in terms of not getting found. We were found immediately. Is there a way we could have hidden to not have been found totally immediately? And can you tell us a way that would have worked or worked better?
Yeah. Well, one way immediately would have been if Tin's cloak had been active, if she could have flown, because the thing had tremor sense. It could, as long as you were off the ground, would have been fine. So that would have been one big way. Like I knew that that she could fly, so I was like, well, there you go, like that. Obviously,
I was smacked down.
You guys
Sorry.
needed Kevin Bacon's help.
But yeah, so the tremor sense thing would have been big. Had you guys found a place to hide in the first round and not moved, that would have done it. But you guys spent most of your rounds moving around and tying the bag up, and then using, like, one of the big things that threw you off was that using luck let you compensate for bad rolls, but made a lot more noise. That was the way I ruled it. So, like, your bag falling out of the tree, spending a luck point, having it catch a branch, that was lucky, but it was making a lot of
creepiest branch.
yeah, but it was making a lot of motion for the thing to track you. So, like, it only has tremor sense out to a certain amount of feet. So if you had just found a place to hide and stayed still, it would have changed everything. So the whole point of it was supposed to be that, like, it had the power to sunder trees. So it was going to start looking around, trying to scare you guys. It was going to break a tree and see if you guys would be like, okay, look, I'm just going to move and try and get a better, like, it was going to constantly try to do things. It was pretty smart. It was a really good hunter. So it was going to try to do things. And had you stayed hidden for long enough, it would have given up. Yeah. And then the creature was tremendously powerful, but I changed its damage to tickle damage. So if it ever did get a hold of you, it wouldn't kill you. Because the force wasn't trying to end you. That changed when you shot it.
I don't know.
It changed the tone of the conversation. Yeah, and as Data points out too, if you had split up, that was another way you could have done it. Because if it only would have caught one of you, it would have been a draw.
Lord knows Tin's never splitting up again.
Yeah. Scatter.
Yeah, right. Tin's
Scatter.
like, no,
Yeah.
never.
So yeah,
You know
there's
what the fun part is that because Megan a very long time ago let it slip that she had done a side quest. I forget where, but somehow
in her stream. In her stream, she said it. Yeah.
And
Oh,
so,
crap.
but it's been fun though because I've been listening to the podcast, thinking like, when, like,
Yeah.
when you guys split up and you literally were taking off on a ship apart from everybody. I was like, well, here it comes. And then you're like, hell no, I'm getting off this ship. Let me down.
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe it's I don't know what's happening.
I very actively, there are other points like,
Yeah.
I actively was like, I am not doing a side adventure. And I would like, so I jumped off the ship, and then there are other things that
There's
I
one
did
coming
this.
up. It's going to be a little while, but there's another moment where it's like, no, don't even hype. Don't get hyped, guys. You're going to hear it and go, oh my God. Huh.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
It does not play. Well, no, yeah. Nothing plays. But there is one more side adventure in the pocket. Somebody else goes on a big side adventure. So you'll have to just kind of ponder and guess who. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think don't answer, because if one of you answers, then you'll reveal whether or not it involves you or not. But I don't think anyone from the podcast really knows what happens in that one. I think the group got their first hint like last game. So, yeah,
Nice.
fun times.
Wes, we actually played the World Talkers song tonight.
Yeah, you missed it.
It's
I mean, you've heard it
so
before,
good.
but that's the best part. It's like it. My wife heard it the other day, and she's like, "This is so good. This is amazing." She's like, "I love this song so much."
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever let one of the players run a one shot for the others?
We almost did. Wesley was gonna run a cog game for us, and I forget why it didn't happen. I don't remember why now, but yeah, Wesley was going to
Beach
run something
episode,
for a
right?
charity. No, he was going to a jump rail heist episode.
Mm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then I did let Wesley run Menroth for a while.
That's true.
Yeah, so that was cool. I actually have the itch to play finally. I hate playing, and out of nowhere, like maybe a month or two ago, I was like, I kind of want to play at least once. So I don't know if we would ever do it as a canon-based podcast episode, but yeah, I don't know. Would you? So that's a question. Olivia or Megan, would either one of you ever want to run a game?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, never. Next question.
Hard pass. Insulted.
You can do a girl game. It'd be
Thanks.
like me.
So I kind of want to play again. You know what we could do? A game that excludes specifically Pedro.
Yeah,
Let's do a
you know
north
what?
of the border game.
Really? No, Pedro, there would also be a Michigan people only game.
Nice.
Like
Nice.
just you and me.
I'm moving into like a week and a half, so I guess I'm out on that too.
You're moving out of Michigan?
I am.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm going into Indiana again.
What? I've never been to your village. Oh well. Yeah, sorry, no girl game.
Hey, when's
no-
the next time? Are you? What you should tell me next time you ever come back to Michigan,
I'm in Michigan right now.
dude? We should talk after this.
Yes.
and I'll also be there.
No,
Look
you
at my-
can't complain, Megan, because you got to hang out with everyone, and I didn't.
I'm extremely jealous. I'll be there. I'm booking my flight now. I have terrible FOMO.
Yes, yeah.
Brian, get over here too. We can just have a party. in
We'll take a
Michigan.
bunch of out of
Right,
context like
yeah.
photos of us at places. Like we'll be at a
It's gonna
restaurant
be
where you
so
can't
much.
tell. We'll be at a restaurant where you can't tell what kind of food was served. Like,
Yeah.
wow, what a meal!
We
But
just
you won't be
take
able to see if
pictures.
we enjoyed it or not.
Probably the best meal I've ever had.
No, like no context. Like, wow, what a meal! But we like no expression, so you can gain nothing from it. Like, you're
Yeah,
like,
so you're
"God,
like
dude."
wondering, and then we can put some like non sequitur in there and just be like, great inside joke,
Yeah.
sprouts, and shoes.
I will
We'd
very
used to-
All
quickly-
forever.
We
I
did
will
that.
really-
My friend and I went to Little Caesars, and basically some things happened, and we came back and we brought the food back for the D&D group, and we were just like, we just kept talking about the Elsie situation, how fucking wild it was, and everyone's like, but did something really happen? Are you fucking up with fucking us over? Man, what? Tell what? And it's like, well, none of you guys wanted to go, so I don't know why you'd be interested in it now, since you didn't put any effort into it. You just wanted the pizza. So the LC situation, I honestly don't want to relive the LC situation. And we still every now and then busted out just to fuck with the group that didn't want to help us out get pizzas. FOMO,
So good.
FOMO, hard FOMO,
All the FOMO in the world.
all the FOMO in the world.
The way that sounds.
It looks like Denver though might be another mini meetup. I don't know if Wes was gonna go, but
What's that one?
Denver Comic Con is June like 15th or something. And I actually also don't know if Olivia still was gonna go or not, but it was like the potential of going.
Yeah.
It was exciting.
That's weird. You know, let me check. No, I was never asked about that. That's weird.
No, it wasn't like we were like,
Like,
hey,
so
let's
that's why you
all
said a
go.
mini meetup, because you weren't going to invite
No,
everyone.
No, it wasn't
Huh.
like that. It was
Oh, how
I feel
was
like
it? How was
no,
it?
Pedro. I feel like how it was
No.
I decided to sign up for Denver Comic Con, and then we were all like, every once in a while I'd be like, oh, at Denver Comic Con, and then I mentioned it, and it just kind of was like, Jane was like, oh, I applied, and then Enzo was like, oh, I applied, and then so it's been slowly growing, and I don't know like what the status is, but if you want to meet us in Denver Comic Con,
No, I'm busy that day. What day is it?
Oh man! So I googled Denver Comic Con, and the first ad comes up, and it's like Denver Comic Con, and it has the dates, and it's a friggin' ad for Denver.org. It's just about Denver. There's nothing about the con. Get out of here, Denver.
Well,
Back
I
off.
see here they're going to have
About
Sean
actual-
Gunn, one of the people whose names you don't know from Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm already in. I don't know if they're not leading off with his Gilmore Girls appearance instead. So
Or Super,
Yeah.
a James Gunn, I guess.
oh.
Super's great.
Yep. Well, yeah, if there's no other questions, I think we're going to just start wrapping this up. Unless you had anything, Brian, you want to throw out?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. Tapped out.
Tapped out, yeah. So,
I got real messed up, and my children were screaming like they were being murdered. And
hey,
they're-
we got someone else, Max. What up, Max? Max, you're a new patron, aren't you? I think I.
you're late. You've missed everything.
No.
Go back. Start over.
Max.
Yeah. Ooh, I could. While we wait for Max to say what up back, and then feel fulfilled with our lives, I will answer. Data says, Megan, why are you feeling camera shy? That is funny because there was a point today where earlier in the week, Megan and Olivia said that they'd be cool with Cameron. I was like, all right, cool. No, it's cool either way, right? So today there's a point where Willow comes up to me, my daughter, and she goes, hey, Daddy, can you play with me? And I said, well, not right now. I actually have to set up the stream for tonight for work. And she's like, but Daddy, I don't want to play by myself. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I said, my friends are going to be on the stream tonight, so I have to redesign the layout. So you know how, like, when I showed you the video, it has, like, 2 boxes? I need 4 now. And she's like, but I don't want to play by
This feels
myself.
like-
And I said,
this
baby,
seems
I'm really
like
sorry,
just
but
a guilt
Megan
trip.
wants to be on the camera really.
I did not say that. I did not. I said it was 50-50
No,
from the
I know,
start. And
I
then
know.
I think it was like, although I was like, oh crap, I forgot
Just-
to tell Pedro. That
Yeah,
I
she goes,
didn't want to.
I'll do it if Olivia does it. And Olivia's like, I'm in. And then Megan texts me, talks to me today and goes, yeah, so no. She's like, I think Olivia's going to do it, but I'm not going to be on video. And I said, oh, that's cool.
Well, it was it's mostly because my office is like
No, it's not. It's not a problem.
my office is a huge mess, and then I'm a mess, and so it's
No,
just
it's
too
cool.
much mess
No,
to
no, no.
handle.
It's
So.
totally cool.
You know, I always jump at the chance to show off my I Heart Pittsburgh.
I was going to ask, yeah.
It's adorable.
Okay, so this is the story behind this monkey. I wear it sometimes at night, just to have around my neck. I got it in Pittsburgh. It's like a pirate because they have a sports team. You may have heard of this. They're the Pirates, and they're in Pittsburgh. But my favorite part about it is that if I squeeze him, he makes a horrible noise.
Do it.
So, are you ready?
What the?
That's what it sounded like when I told my daughter I couldn't spend time with her because Megan needed me to reconfigure the UI.
That's the stuff of nightmares.
This is
I
amazing.
feel
I
like-
found this out because I slept on him and then I accidentally squeezed him and I woke up in the middle of the night to something screaming horribly and had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Brian, what were you
That
gonna
was
say?
like that was my actual question. I was like, how many times have you actually slept with it though? Because you know good and
Yeah.
well. You're,
There was
I
one
don't know
half of
why.
the night. 0.5 nights have been with this thing with me, but around the evening, just in case something surprises me, like something tells me you're not gonna believe what happened, and they tell me, I'm like it's an enthusiasm translator. My roommate,
I hate that so much.
Let's love it. That's amazing.
Uh,
but he
My
loves
first-
Pittsburgh.
My first thought when you said that you have it around your neck is like, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna accidentally choke in her sleep. Like, well, because like like when I was a kid, I watched there was some movie where that happened to a kid in a movie, and I
From
don't
the
remember.
monkey?
No, not from a monkey, but he was like
okay.
sleeping with like something that had a string on it, and then it was like this whole dramatic scene where she's like, "My baby," and he was dead. And it was like, "I'll never sleep with anything that can choke me."
That's Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yep, totally.
No, it's...
Wait. I believe you, Pedro. Curse you, Pedro.
My
Pedro, here's what I think of that. Get that right
that
there on
is
my-
funny.
That's-
Anyway,
That's
so
how we end now on. Just with this-
I deserve that.
It's like, well, everybody, we'll see you later. Okay.
So real quick, I wanted to make sure Max got at least a chance to ask one question. Max wants to know, and again, welcome, Max. I think you're one of our new patrons that came in the last week or so. So thank you so much for everything. But Max wants to know, what made you decide to make the characters that you play? And Brian, you could even answer it too, technically, since you were a player, if you wanted to.
Yeah, you guys go first.
Me, nobody else wants to run the game. No. If you pick an NPC, I'll answer that question. But sorry, go ahead, Olivia.
So Ertleby is an old lady, and she's also got this like non-traditional path in that she only kind of became an adventurer a few years ago. And I thought that was great because like women don't stop doing interesting things like at like 30, and you also aren't too old to pick up new skills and stuff. And so she had this late in life hobby adoption of becoming a gunslinger. And it's only natural if you're a gunslinger that you're going to go on an adventure or two. And so I think it was just sort of like, whose story hasn't been told before? And then everything else about the character kind of like, I did a lot of like backstory, but she's really coming to her own through the interactions with the other players because they're so awesome. And it like we build our characters off of them.
Okay, Brian, go.
So Connor played, Brian played in one of our live stream games for a while, and he played a gunslinger from COG as well named Connor.
Yes, and I I was thinking when I decided on my character, I decided that I wanted him to focus on history, sort of in an Indiana Jones-ish sort of way, like a history teacher sort of adventurer, because the one thing that you guys don't really have a chance to focus on in World Walkers is like diving into the culture sort of a thing, because you guys are dealing with, world ending stuff. And so yeah, I picked that so that I could have that asking everybody everything as I walked along. But I always pulled my rifle out too, and because I was a hobbit, a halfling, excuse me. Sorry, Megan, that's from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. I watched the second movie. I watched it.
Well, the second one, then you're done. The second one's the best one. Let's be real.
It was pretty good. It was good. There was a lot of strong lads in that.
That was my takeaway as well.
There's real quick side note, just to explain it to everyone. There's literally only one line where they're trying to defend the city or the stronghold, and they're like, "Get all your men and all the strong lads," and it just seemed really silly. And then it's like immediately you just see all these boys looking around, really confused and like having armor and stuff, and so they just developed into a joke of like, "Put
That's
the strong
pretty funny.
lads in front."
We
Yes.
said that for the next 5 hours. Brian, I love that the way you designed your character to like get at my favorite parts of role-playing games, which are like asking questions and world building.
I don't, you guys probably didn't watch it, it's okay, but like the one of the episodes we met Tompkins, well, my character did.
Yeah, that was a fun moment.
As he was working in a shop while you guys had stranded him, in his mind. You guys had just completely abandoned him. And so
Yeah.
We had a
and
job.
so- exactly. And so
What's your invited
people in the chat were so mad at me for not
Yeah.
breaking character and just fanboying all over these people. Like ask him questions about Ertleby. And I'm like, I don't know who Ertleby. My character
Yeah,
doesn't know
yeah.
Ertleby.
That was
Why
so
would you
fun.
They're like, do it now, stop it.
Yeah, because the games all kind of run congruently. Like,
Mhm.
so, like, yeah, I introduced that COG game, and even though the World Walkers, what some people call Prime, World Walkers Prime, even though, like, our game is much further ahead, like, when the podcast is running, if I start a campaign, I start it in the present, if you will, for that. So yeah, they got it, like, they were in Fallis at the time that Tompkins was stuck there. Yeah, or just like in one of the other games, there was crisscross because like two different groups were running. I think two different groups were running into the same druid.
That was us.
Yeah, yeah.
Us in the
But in
south.
different contexts and situations and stuff like that.
Can you describe this druid to me?
I will send you the description afterwards. But I'm pretty sure you know who it is. Or it'll be no, you know who he's associated with. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But so someone asked about Max asked about Tompkins was the NPC that he chose. So yeah, Tompkins, I didn't know if the group would take Tompkins with them. So I wanted to put in Tompkins is my answer for there's a problem in role-playing games sometimes where a GM seems like they secretly want to be a player and they just can't. So they make like a really sweet, badass Wolverine, Lone Star, gunslinging, hardcore Mamma Jamma character that gets to do all the cool stuff and solve all the mysteries and everything. And Tompkins is the opposite of that. He's like the answer to the amazing DM NPC that solves all the crimes and gets all the gender of their choice. Like, he's nothing like that. He's just a big, hot mess of a person. And I wanted somebody who, when I designed him, I wanted to basically add a whole lot of history and story and layers to him and let the group decide how much they cared. You know what I mean? It's like the group, I don't want to bore them with a character like an NPC. So like they only get as much of any NPC as really as they want in a certain sense. Like Patch's story doesn't open up and unfold more until they get a chance to be with him and then take that chance to explore more, you know? So Tompkins has a whole bunch of story packed in him, but it's only as much as the group wants. And you see that a lot where like I've actually had listeners tell me, they're like, why doesn't the group do this with Tompkins? Why doesn't the group because they don't care. That's not the story they want at the time. Which is why I like the podcast, because people get to voice or explore different aspects of the story than the players might, you know. So that's kind of like rewarding for me. But Tompkins, when I wrote him up, I wanted to create this little halfling character. Halflings have, I think it's become apparent so far in the podcast, halflings have a lot of story to them. So I thought that'd be a great race to pick that could help unfold it. If they chose him, those who've listened throughout the whole podcast, I think, they've learned by now that like, he seems to know his way through the series of tunnels that stretched across worlds called the Rounds. The game changes based on whether or not they have Tompkins. If they never took Tompkins, or if at some point, and we don't know, you guys don't know out there if he's died yet or not, but like the game changes dramatically whether or not Tompkins is involved or not. It doesn't mean it's wrong, it's just different. So I like that idea that like the group almost has, I don't want to say like a magical item, but they have like this narrative plot point that greatly affects the story as much as they want it to. And as the game goes on, you see like people like Brummelstone start to try to peel back layers of Tompkins, but he was designed to be an underwhelming character as much as the group wanted him to be. That way he never overshadow, I hope he doesn't overshadow or overpower any narratives or characters, stuff like that. He has as many moments as the group kind of wants him to have. And he's named Tompkins because I used to play a game called Final Fantasy XI, and me and my brother played the halflings in that game called Tarus, and there was this little dude that followed us around, and he was a tiny little Taru with sloppy blonde hair named Tompkins. And he couldn't talk. Like, he didn't have a keyboard. He just had the controller. So, like, he would have to move his joystick around to try to, like, find the letters. So that is why Tompkins was made. He's kind of as much as the group wants him to be. And then my daughter thought it'd be funny to name our dog Tompkins.
Nah.
So, yeah.
Puppy.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, throw them in the chat.
Are we letting Megan get away with not answering?
Oh, sorry. Olivia looks so tired. I forgot about Megan.
No, my camera has frozen. It just froze an entire moment. I don't know why. I'm gonna stop video and restart it.
I was trying to rush so bad. I was like, she is so fucking bored with this.
No, it froze in a blink. It froze in a blink.
Fine.
I'm moving around a lot. Here, I'm gonna start.
Sure you are. Man. Boy, you know,
Sorry,
you invite
I'm
something
awake.
onto a show.
Oh, this is-
Anyway, as you were saying.
Megan,
Okay, so
walk us through the design process.
I think really before like visually I designed her or whatever, I've just always been a sucker for things that are a little bit like a lot of juxtaposition within my characters and things, because I just think that makes it interesting. So you know, I liked the idea of like something that was built exclusively, like whose race was built exclusively for destruction, that she has something that's not necessarily meant to destroy. Like, her job is not necessarily to destroy. She has that capability, but she's like, you know, we got a little thing for you over here. And like, I liked the idea of like the gunslinger thing where there's this sense of, you have again like and I think that really does match with her characters. Like, you have this ability for complete and utter destruction, but you like don't like at times you just choose not to use it. Like, I mean, Tin could just shoot her way through everything if she wanted, but she chooses to refrain a lot of times, I think, except for when it comes to tickle monsters. But but yeah, so
The
Wabbit
most
season.
terrifying looking tickle monster ever.
yeah.
So let's be real here.
Yeah.
I've always liked I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I don't think whether it was or not diminishes, like if it wasn't a purposeful thought, I don't think it diminishes it. I've always liked the clash between the fact that like the forged are products of the magical advancements of COG, and gunslinging is the result of the secretive advancements of the technology side of COG.
Right.
And the entire reason for the Mages' War was because everybody wanted their secrets, and Tin is just this big bundle of secrets all together. I just like the contrast.
Yeah.
And like all the choices you made together. Like she's silly. She her role was to essentially be pacifistic, if you will.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I literally had that as a description on her character sheet, and almost like after the first game, I immediately scratched it out because I was like, well, but it was supposed to be, she was supposed to be really calm and collected and like a pacifist.
Yes.
And now she's pulling guns on tickle monsters.
Yeah, and now I'm like, beep, 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 like walking into, except I don't make noise with my gun, so it's more like, if you will. But yeah,
that's like honestly the best part of the podcast for me is the fact that gun makes no noise. So easy to edit.
Yeah.
There's like an entire, like every round, there's one action I don't have to do shit for.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
amazing.
I feel like my character is set up so that she can be stealthy. It's just that she never does well on her rolls to like do it. But anyways, yeah. So I guess that was kind of it. And then I really just looked up a bunch of like, literally, I think I Googled like female robot, female cyborg, female android. And I just like combined all the cooler looking ones. I was like,
That's
oh,
cool.
that's the thing on DeviantArt. Let me just take this part and put it here. And yeah, so.
It's a fun behind the scenes piece of insider information that at various points, almost all of the World Walkers have complained about trying to draw tin.
Really?
Almost all of you have, yeah. Like someone will try and draw. I'm like, I'm gonna design like a banner or something like that for you, and they're like, I don't understand tin. How does?
But now she
like-
has a cloak, so you can literally
Yeah,
just
yeah.
put the cloak over everything.
I've had several of the World Walkers go like, maybe not complain, but go like, wait, so how does? How
And
is
the answer
the way her
is
neck
nobody
works is?
knows.
And yeah, there was one
Nobody
time when
Secrets.
when Jane was asking, she's like, so how would I draw this part? And you were like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Just
that?
go for it.
You like we
Yeah,
were all
that's-
hanging out. And you're like, oh, I don't know either. I just draw it till it makes sense. I think was your answer.
Yeah. No, I literally like I love Olivia's interpretation of like she draws tin with like varying degrees
Yeah.
of like, and I'm like, just do like, yeah, just like if you need her to be a triangle, let her be a triangle for a little bit. Like, no big deal.
I do love that about your style, Olivia. Is that I feel like I don't know if this is accurate to say, but I feel like your style is fairly fearless. Like your style is, I'm gonna draw however I want, because like I feel like it comes out in your art that you're drawing because you love it, and so you're only gonna draw what you want to draw. Essentially, is that accurate or?
Pretty much that.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah, because there's some like like the drawing you did of Child Ertleby that's up on Patreon. Like it's fucking awesome, but it also looks like you wanted to put like a certain spin on it, so it doesn't have the same kind of sketchiness that some of the other art you send in has. Like I don't know, I always feel like I can feel what you were thinking when you draw. That's really cool. What is that?
Bro.
Oh,
I'm
what?
just untouched.
Oh,
And
cool.
I love Tin's character design, and I also love that this is like a friend group where I can take my friends' characters and be like, Tin's a triangle now. Boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop. Here you go. This is Tin.
She's a transformer, Wes says.
It's my favorite version of tin. Triangle tin.
So last thing I want to ask is we're gonna head out after this. Do you guys like this format, or do you like the live draws better? Both for everyone participating and all of you in chat, because this is really fun for me, and it's a lot easier to kind of hang out and talk. So let me know either way. I mean, I like the live draws too, but
Yeah, I like really anything with the group is fun.
yeah.
Sometimes the live draws can be really fun because it's like we'll just stick to a goof and just keep goofing.
yeah.
Yeah, like so it's good to like mix it up. So like I like doing this
Porque
too.
no los dos.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you use that phrase now, Olivia.
What was the phrase again?
Because of Megan.
It's like
Why not both?
yeah, Porque no los dos is just it's based on like a really silly commercial about like do we use now I feel like I'm saying this and Pedro's gonna be like slightly offended or something.
Oh,
but
go on.
it was a commercial in Spanish about like this taco shell brand, and it was
Mhm.
like the family was feuding on if they wanted to use hard shell or soft like
Mhm.
tortilla shell tacos.
Mm.
And then this little amazingly adorable girl comes out and she goes, "Por qué no los dos?" And then everyone like lifts her up and she's like the champion. And so now every time I'm like faced with a decision of like I don't want to make a decision, I always am like, "Por qué no los dos?" So that's it. that's the story. The end.
I liked it when you said it as the girl. You had like you put a bit of the accent in there,
Yeah.
and you said, "But when I say it," and then like you stripped the accent off of it.
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me pull on.
Por canos los two or whatever.
Por qué no los dos?
Yeah.
Y'all. But No, there was actually something. I was at my real super quick. I was at my part-time job, and I said something to somebody, and I was kind of tired and sleepy, and I didn't realize it, but I totally went into full-on Texan accent where I was like, "See you later," and I was like, "Oh my god, it's in me! I have an accent."
You've done it in the well, not on the podcast, but in the live game. There's one time you were ranting, I think, like at Wesley. I think it was a long time ago, and it just the drawl started, like it threw the double doors open and moseyed on in, and it was like,
yeah, boot scooted its way in. as I like to
Mexan.
say.
Texas Megan.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming to this special episode of World Talkers. We're probably going to start doing World Talkers as a Patreon thing from now on. So hope you guys liked it. The other episodes are going to be uploaded pretty soon. I've already uploaded one. They're going to slowly be posted to Patreon. So yeah, thanks for coming out. Thank you, Megan and Olivia, for coming out and taking a chunk out of your day to hang with us. It was really fun. And thank you to all the patrons. Thank you guys for supporting and making all this like literally possible. It's like, yeah, it's just been really cool. And it's been really helpful with everything going on to like always be able to hang out with you guys and share stuff with you. And thanks, Brian, for hosting everything.
Yes. Thank you, Brian.
I did nothing this time.
No.
I'm just here. It's great.
But yeah,
Snaps
this
for Brian, everyone. Snaps for Brian.
Brian. Brian. Brian.
Buy everybody's shirts.
buy everyone's shirts. But yeah, the video should post immediately right to Patreon. So anyone, if you missed any part of this, you can rewatch it, whatever. So yeah, we will see you guys later. Thanks again. New episode 61 should be coming up Sunday night or Monday. So yep. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.